Good morning. My name is Manasvini Mohan. I am 17 years old and currently still in school studying for my A-levels. I first heard of the Women's Equality Party while watching a talk given at LSE by the former Prime Minister of Australia, Julia Gillard. It just so happens that at that time, I was researching women's underrepresentation in Parliament for a project I was doing in school, and so the notion of a Women's Equality Party intrigued me straight away. As soon as I went home that evening, I googled the Women's Equality Party, or WE as they are known, read up on the work they do, and emailed them with some questions. Very shortly after that, I spent a few days volunteering at the party's London headquarters. During this time, it became clear to me that first and foremost, we aim to remove the obstacles and barriers facing women in Britain today. I decided to become a member, not only because I'm a woman and a feminist, but because I believe the party's work will benefit everyone across our society. Particularly important to me are the changes we want to make in the education system, allowing girls to have the confidence and support of their male counterparts. This goes in hand with our plan to challenge the way the media perceives and objectifies women. I look forward to the Women's Equality Party working alongside the main political parties. In fact, in my ideal world, all MPs would be members of our party, and Parliament would have to take gender issues seriously. While we wait for that to happen, we can, together, ensure that women's voices are heard and women's rights are acknowledged across our society. Behind all of this is the brilliant work of party leader Sophie Walker, who I have the great honour of introducing today.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome. What a wonderful morning. This morning, we take a big step towards doing politics differently, to doing politics fairly, to creating the kind of politics where women and men are heard equally, and Britain does better as a result. I'm Sophie Walker, and I'm the leader of the Women's Equality Party. Yeah! Beside me sit some of our members who have worked directly on the policies that we're about to announce. I'm delighted to welcome them today, along with the many, many others here too who have helped us to get to this point. We are truly grateful, and we are inspired by your approach that has been both creative and pragmatic. As I look around this room and consider how far we've travelled, it seems incredible that this wonderful party was set up just 6 months ago by Sandy Toksvig and Catherine Mayer. Together, they came up with the idea of building a new collaborative force in British politics. A collaboration of people of all genders, ages, backgrounds, ethnicities, beliefs and experiences who share the determination to see women enjoy the same rights and opportunities as men so that all can flourish. On behalf of the many thousands who, like me, jumped at the chance to be part of this, I would like to thank Catherine and Sandy, whose courage and vision kick-started our extraordinary journey. Right, it's 2015. It's nearly 100 years since women won the right to vote. And yet, men outnumber women in Parliament by 2 to 1. Women's experiences of work, healthcare, crime and education are not heard, and our legislation is often lacking and ineffective. 2 women are killed by a partner or former partner every week, and for many others the fear of being attacked is something they live with daily. Our society is not at ease with itself. Women are represented in adverts and the media as sex objects and victims rather than individuals with ambitions and ideas. Our children are held back by the limits imposed on them by gender stereotypes, and our economy is out of balance. It is time to wake up to the real gender pay gap that sits behind so many of the problems women face. Overall, last year, men earned £516 billion, and women earned £271 billion. That is a difference of £245 billion. Why? Because millions of women are being paid less than their male colleagues. They are leaving work because they can't afford childcare. They are not returning to work when their children are older because they're now caring for elderly parents. They are working in part-time and unstable jobs because they are the only ones that afford them flexibility. This all adds up not just to a gap in earnings, but a gap in power. When British men earn £245 billion more than British women every year, it is no surprise that women have so little say in our society. We are here to change that. Yes. A great many pressure groups and campaigners and individuals have made great progress in fighting for the rights of women in all areas of life. Without the inspirational work of the suffragettes, we would have no women in Parliament at all. Without the dedication of the women's liberation movement in the 1960s and the 1970s, we couldn't hold employers to account over the pay gap because the Equal Pay Act of 1970 wouldn't exist. But instead of celebrating these achievements and continuing to move forward, instead of adopting the recommendations made by today's brilliant women's organisations, of which there are many, British institutions choose instead to look the other way. Our history books neglect female activism, and our media lampoons female activists as radical and irrational women whose contributions to political discourse do not deserve to be taken seriously. Recently, the Prime Minister expressed concern that his 2 daughters would be disadvantaged because of their gender. He said, "You can't have true opportunity without real equality." Jeremy Corbyn, the leader of the opposition, has said, "We will never be a successful society in which all are able to achieve their potential until we have equality for women." These are great comments, right? They're just comments. They've been talking about delivering equality for far too long. It seems to me they're more interested in claiming the right to deliver equality than actually delivering it. Their only action is to shoot down any other party's talk about how they might deliver equality, reducing our right to participate to a cynical messaging contest. Equality is not a manifesto detail to be bickered over. It's not politicians' property to be doled out as they see fit. And we are not a special interest party. We are half the population. Equality belongs to us. The political system belongs to us. We are within our rights to lay claim to both, and that is what we are going to do. We are proposing to finally achieve equality for women, and thereby for everyone, by being a political party that works with all the other parties so that we can all move forward together. Sorry, whoops. It's really a shame that this approach is so unique in politics. It really shouldn't be. Now, don't get me wrong, we will not shy away from the big debates. We will campaign hard for votes. We plan to stand our first candidates next spring. But our approach means that we don't have to wait until the next election for change. So tired of waiting for change. We will collaborate, we will work with all those who share our goals, and together we will build a movement for change. We have 6 clear objectives to bring about an equal society for the good of everyone. Today, we announce the first of the policies to deliver those objectives. These are policies that our members and supporters have been crafting for months, up and down the country, in homes and offices, in cafes and community halls, in the hope of breaking the political logjam. David Cameron, Jeremy Corbyn, political leaders and activists from every party. If you really want women to fulfil their potential, then take on these policies. We will stand against you at election time, but we challenge you. Put us out of business first. Implement our policies first and do it fast. We've got some brilliant people about to speak. I'll just say a little more shortly and then I'll hand over to them. I have to say that I am overwhelmed after these months and months of work to be holding this document today. The proposals here are designed to support women right through their lives. So let's start by looking at life for young girls. My younger daughter is 6 years old. She loves science. I hope she continues to love it. I hope she takes physics at A level. We heard from a member of our party who took physics at A level. She was one of 2 girls in a class of 30. And she wrote to us that in one lesson her teacher thought it would be funny if he mathematically proved on the board that women are the root of all evil. Who thinks that's funny? We don't want any girl to feel that she's a joke to her classmates and a joke to her teacher. We want to expand women's options and children's options. We want them and their teachers to understand that it's normal to treat all people as equal. And we say that schools should be judged on the way they teach gender equality and on the way they deliver it. School is, of course, not just the place where children learn to read and write. It's also where they start to form ideas about how relationships work, and it's where they put that into practice. Already, the boys in my little girl's class think she's second class. I don't. I think she's first class, even though she did wake me up 3 times last night to check it was today I was doing my big speech. But I can't bear the thought that sexist, oppressive attitudes are going to accompany her right through school. Like many of you, I'm starting to realise we can do something about it. We can support our children and young people by challenging the idea that some subjects and clothes and toys are for girls and others are for boys. We can provide independent careers advice. We can recognise that aspiration has no gender. We can provide honest sex and relationships education so that our children's first romantic forays are as they should be: respectful, consensual, joyful, and only embarrassing in the right way. This way, we believe that young women and men will be better equipped to go out together into the world. In the world of adults, we expect women and men to enjoy equal pay and equal opportunity. We want to tackle the imbalances that hold women back in the workplace and leave many, such as those who are unpaid caregivers or in low-paid jobs, especially vulnerable. We also want to support women in the workforce as they move into their 50s and 60s, tackling the discrimination that older women face and enabling them to maintain a successful and enjoyable career and enjoy security in their retirement. Of course, creating a fairer workplace isn't just about equal pay. It's about supporting everyone, regardless of gender or sexual orientation, to share the joys and responsibilities of parenting and caregiving. It's about freeing families from the exorbitant cost of childcare. One of our members wrote to us, "It is my decision to be a stay-at-home mum," she said. "I never thought I'd be a mum, and I enjoy it immensely. But it saddens me that I have been out of the workforce for such a long time that getting a job that doesn't just pay for childcare is nigh on impossible. I want my daughter and daughters everywhere to realise their potential." This woman is one of at least 600,000 women in Britain who would prefer to work if they could afford to do so. We want women to realise their potential, and we want to do it by providing a system of childcare that doesn't cost the earth and doesn't have to be waited for. We believe that government-funded childcare should be available for all children from the end of paid parental leave, and we believe this is a key area for government investment. We would fully fund this by introducing a single rate of tax relief on pension savings, which would free up around £6.5 billion. This will support women as they build their careers and start families, but it also protects women who are low earners and part-time workers to save for their pensions. By enabling women to earn more, we can enable them to save more. And only by doing both can we solve the problem of women's poverty pensions and ensure dignity in retirement for all. I've talked a lot about mothers here. It's important to look also at the way we treat fathers and fathers-to-be. Just as women's careers suffer because it's assumed they will take parental leave, men's family lives suffer when it's assumed that they won't. We want more fathers to take more parental leave, and we're going to make it more affordable for them to do so. We will also provide greater support to same-sex parents, adoptive parents, and single parents, and we will encourage more fathers to take time away from work by changing attitudes around who can and who should care. Our aim is to make women free and equal. But no woman can be free and equal unless she is safe. It is a stain on our society that women are murdered, violated, assaulted, and oppressed because of their gender. By diminishing women's freedom to participate in society, violence against women and girls remains one of the highest barriers to gender equality. Sometimes, feeling free from sexual violence means just being able to walk down the street in peace. Another of our members told us, "I want to know what it feels like to come home at night without fearing being attacked. I don't want to be catcalled in the street. I don't want to be belittled and told to smile, darling." Our country has a gendered culture where men are seen as entitled to dominate, and the media portrays women as sex objects. The acts of everyday sexism that pervade our culture must not be trivialised. They must be challenged and they must be defeated. Violence against women and girls, of course, goes much deeper than everyday sexism. The Women's Equality Party believes in the absolute right to a place of sanctuary for women, children, and other survivors of sexual and domestic violence. And we recognise the importance of specialist services for women from Black, Asian, and minority ethnic communities, for women with disabilities, and for women with insecure immigration status. It is essential to fund support services to help women rebuild their lives. And we must address the shamefully low prosecution rates for domestic and sexual violence. We must also tackle the awful abuse and exploitation that occurs in the sex trade. The Women's Equality Party joins those who believe that women should never be criminalised for selling sex. It is time to begin a process in the United Kingdom to end demand for prostitution. First, we must invest in the support services and opportunities that women need to exit the sex industry. And we must drive a national conversation about the reality of the sex industry as both a cause and a consequence of gender inequality. And then, within 2 years, we should legislate to criminalise the purchase of sex. Our policies support ordinary women and help them to overcome the challenges of living and working in a structurally sexist society. The problems I've outlined this morning would not be so profound if women were equal decision makers in the United Kingdom, if they were proportionately represented in politics and business and throughout working life. We've made some progress, but the path to shared power is taking too long to pave. So we have concluded that as a temporary measure, quotas are necessary. Women currently make up a third of Parliament. So we will put Parliament into special measures for 2 elections. Political parties should field women in 2/3 of seats, including 2/3 of safe seats. We can have a 50-50 Parliament in a decade. In business, similarly, we expect balance. We want to see a balanced board and a balanced executive committee at all listed companies by 2025, with progress from now. This will not, as the scaremongers suggest, permit mediocrity. Rather, it will stamp it out. It will eradicate the centuries-old system of unwritten quotas, which have created institutions in which a wealthy, white, male elite wields far more power than the rest of us. Britain's refusal to accept difference creates mediocrity. We have 30 million women in the country. I'm sure we can find 325 brilliant ones to become MPs.